Hello, hello. This is my artifact episode number 3566. Today's date is August 31, 2025. It's been almost like a night at 9:41 a.m. All right, let's just jump directly to the question. All right, let's go. All right, question is, how can I use Instagram and other social media to grow my brand? Okay, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? Okay, first of all, okay, this question is mostly associated with a business startup. I wanted to establish a business and startup, and I don't really know how to do that because I am not a kind of a graduate person. I didn't really did any kind of like a business studies, nothing really at all. Asking these questions to myself is a kind of like somebody understand that key what will gonna problem will I face when I build the business and things like that. So asking these questions so that I will aware that what will gonna happen. All right, or how would I supposed to do, or how would I supposed to kind of level completely actually improve my business or things or that. More specifically, this question is mostly associated with the marketing strategy. Okay, yeah, like basically it's the thing, if you are kind of like a running a business, so you have to make sure that ki whatever you are making product or services, you have to be kind of like a simply share that product and services to the people and things like that. And there is a only way to do that is a social media platform. Okay, yeah. And right now mostly Instagram is a kind of like one of the biggest social media right now. So question is that ki how would you supposed to be kind of like a simply uh, how would you supposed to be kind of like a simply that ki use marketing, social media marketing, how do you supposed to do that, what is actually your plan and strategies regarding about this thing. Okay, okay, so I will not going to talk about kind of like actually what is really my brand and things and that, because I already mentioned this thing regarding about in previous artifact, and this is kind of like a whole new different topic. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna directly jump into the kind of like stuff that what should I supposed to do, okay, while social media marketing. So regarding about social media marketing, okay, first of all is that ki when I kind of like established my, like basically I wanted to make an app, okay, uh, and basically is this thing, if I after I make a app, how would I supposed to kind of like a simply like showcase in front of the people and things like that. Well, there is a one strategy is that ki I already have Instagram and I am also a content creator too. Okay, I make content regarding about Photoshop, photography, graphic designing content. Okay, and basically is this thing, I have not really that much follower, but right now I have almost like a 13,000 follower. Okay, yeah, probably in the future I might have a lot, but at the moment I have 13,000 follower. Now basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki whatever the follower that I have, I will kind of like a simply, and these are loyal followers. Okay, like basically I didn't like kind of like a simply, no, these are kind of like a really legit genuine follower. Okay, yeah, they are kind of like a like comment, and they are kind of like a genuinely have a little bit interest regarding about my content and things like that. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that he when I kind of like assembly make my app, I will kind of like assembly promote my app in my social media platform to kind of like assembly get like a kind of like assembly early user, they will kind of like assembly experience my application, and they will kind of like assembly giving me feedback, or I ask them that ki, what is actually your feedback, what is actually this and that. So this is a kind of like assembly initial push. Okay, it's a kind of like assembly initial push that I'm kind of like simply utilizing my follower to use my application regarding about what they feel and things and that. Okay, and even if their feedback is kind of like simply right and wrong or whatever, I will kind of like improve that thing too. Okay, this is a kind of like simply the initial step. Okay, yeah. But probably is this thing na ki it's a very different terminology. Okay, because let me tell you one thing na ki my follower are mostly associated with the graphic designing followers, like graphic designing people. Like basically I am kind of like somebody associated with the graphic designing content creator. So the people who actually follow me, those are people are kind of like actually associate with kind of like this particular field. Okay, yeah. Now basically my application is not kind of like associated with the graphic designing and stuff like that. So if I kind of like make a app, I will kind of like simply suggest my follower regarding about use my application, things like that. Probably they will not gonna use. Okay, yeah, I knew that they will not gonna use, but probably maybe one person might gonna use. Okay, yeah, one person or two person might gonna use my application. Not really that much. I'm not really expecting too much amount of number. Like basically, if I'm gonna say that I have, let's just say like a 5,000 loyal follower. Okay, yeah. So basically, in the 5,000, maybe kind of like a 10 or maybe 5 to 10 people who could kind of like simply use my application. Okay, they will kind of like utilize and things, and they will kind of like simply giving me really valuable feedback, because this is kind of like a really essential thing for me. Okay, yeah, I'm not really expecting any kind of like a big number, but kind of like a something just initial push, that so that my application would people will gonna use it. Okay, yeah, like this is not kind of like a this kind of like a marketing, but kind of like a marketing not to meant to grow my application, not to grow my business. It's kind of like a just testing my business, that key the whatever stuff that I did is a kind of like a right or wrong. Okay, yeah, or kind of like a if it is wrong, then how do I supposed to make it improve or things like that. Okay, yeah, so this is a kind of like some initial marketing. Okay, this is a kind of like a strategy that I have regarding about initial marketing. Okay, regarding about promoting my application, I have another strategy too, but these are not associated with the social media. These are different kind of like a strategy that I will not gonna talk about that. Okay, yeah. Now if I'm gonna say that my business is grown, okay, my application is kind of like a how like a millions of users and things, and that they are kind of like using my application and things like that. Okay, yeah. Now how do I supposed to use social media to do marketing? Okay, then first question is that why do we need a marketing? Because you already have a kind of like assembly application with millions of people who are using your application. So why do you need a kind of like assembly marketing? Okay, yeah, dude, it's really essential to kind of like assembly be relevant. Because if you are kind of like a decided that you won't do any kind of like a marketing and things like that, then people will gonna forget you. I know at the moment you have kind of like some millions of people are kind of like using your application, but in the future it will not gonna kind of like something stick. It will not gonna kind of like things. No, it's not. Okay, yeah. So it is really essential to kind of like somebody being relevant, being kind of like people know that this is kind of like something exist. Okay, so that's why kind of like so many big companies are kind of like doing all those kind of like a marketing and things like that. Okay, yeah, like so many companies. Okay, yeah, like a Lamborghini, Mercedes, every kind of like assembly brand or kind of like a do the marketing, and social media is kind of like assembly way to do that thing. Okay, yeah. Now basically, if I'm kind of like assembly want to do a marketing, so how do I supposed to do that? How, what is actually my strategy regarding about this thing? So first of all, my initial goal is that key my marketing is not meant to be kind of like a grow my business, because I already grown my business, because I already have millions of users are kind of like using my application. So it's not kind of like simply grown. No, I want to kind of like simply do the marketing in such a way, be a kind of like a simply relevant, be a kind of like a simply is this thing that key my marketing is kind of like a simply that way that we are also exist. Okay, yeah, but it's not kind of like a somebody. I don't want to be kind of like a somebody that kind of like a somebody mellow or things like that. No, I also wanted to do a marketing that people resonate. Okay, people resonate. Just not kind of like I like basically this thing. I don't want that key. The piece of content from my like basically it's the piece of content regarding marketing. It's just kind of like a simply another piece of content that you're seeing. No, people should supposed to be kind of like a connect, or people should supposed to be resonate, people should supposed to be kind of like a feel or something like that. They might gonna get little bit of value when they see the piece of content from in social media. So this is my kind of like a strategy that I wanted to kind of like only execute. Okay, so how would you supposed to do that? How would you kind of like is this thing? Okay, so first of all is that okay, I am actually promoting my application. Okay, I'm promoting my application into social media platform. So how would I supposed to do that? Okay, yeah, I would kind of like tell them that key when you use my application, what do you feel? What is actually feedback and things and that. Also, I'm kind of like sharing back in detail like how do we supposed to make our app, or how do we supposed to maintain our app? What is actually happened? This and that and that. We will, like basically like I will kind of like simply try to kind of like talk about behind the scene, like basically how this backend thing happened, how the coding thing happened, how many servers are there, and those and stuff like that. Also, I'm kind of like using polls or things or that, so that basically is this thing. It kind of like assembly um, connect with the people. There is a one specific kind of like assembly marketing page. I really love it. Amazon Prime Video, love it. Oh yeah, the way that they marketing was really amazing. Like basically, hats off to the Amazon Prime Video. The way that they marketing on Instagram was like really amazing. First of all, is that what does they do is that they use meme. Okay, yeah, like basically memes are kind of like actually very popular right now. So they are kind of like uploading memes. Okay, yeah. Now let me tell you one thing. Memes are not supposed to be look good. Okay, yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like a simply connect, and this is what kind of like a simply Prime Video kind of like a crack that thing, because the way that they kind of like post the content is kind of like a simply little bit meme, so that we would connect. Okay, yeah, they also kind of like a promote the what kind of like a simply the movies they have in their library and things, and that like basically if they're kind of like early movies is actually released on their platform, then they also kind of like mention this thing. But they are not only mention just a poster of the movie and things like that. No, they also kind of like a post regarding about how that movie work or things or that behind the scenes. Also kind of like a some multiple photos and things like that. It kind of like a connect like as a basically it create a buzz and things like that. So it's really good, it's really great. Okay, yeah, like basically there is a one Instagram post from the Amazon Prime Video. I was like really amazed by that. Okay, yeah. So basically, what exactly happened? Okay, yeah. As I mentioned, the Amazon Prime Video is kind of like a only way that the marketing was kind of like a base on little bit meme. Okay, like basically, I seen that they are kind of like a only multiple posts are actually kind of like a for meme perspective. Okay, yeah. And as I mentioned, memes are not meant to be look good. Okay, yeah. So they kind of like post multiple memes. Okay, yeah. And they are not looking good. I was like very confused that is it kind of like a real real Amazon Prime handle or not. Like basically I click on the link, I click on the kind of like a somebody profile to kind of like a look at is it kind of like a really real or genuine Amazon profile Instagram handle page or not. Okay, yeah. And when this thing happened, it's like really amazing. Then I went to the comment section and everyone is kind of like somebody re-verify that this is kind of like a some meme from the Amazon Prime Video or not, or legit Amazon Prime Video or not. Like it is that like really amazing. And basically the way that they kind of like create the memes and create the kind of like a post, love it. Okay, yeah, it's really great. There is also kind of like another marketing strategy I really like, F1. Okay, like basically a couple of days ago I was kind of like somebody following the F1. Okay, yeah, and the way that their marketing was really amazing. But I little bit sense that they are kind of like somebody like basically it is this thing, they also doing the marketing. Okay, yeah, but their marketing is not really that much resonate. Okay, yeah, like mostly they have kind of like somebody clips regarding about their racing and things and that. Okay, which is kind of like something really good, which is kind of like really okay, but still it's not really resonate that much like as much is kind of like Amazon Prime Video is actually the way that their marketing does. It's really amazing, but F1 is really not. But I also understand that the people who follow the F1 are kind of like somebody from ultra luxury people or things like that, so they might gonna get offended by the memes or things like that. So that's why probably is this thing. Yeah, like basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that if you want to eat any kind of like some cheaper food, it will kind of like so much spicy and so much anything. But when you try to eat kind of like some very expensive food, then the taste became little bit mellow. Okay, mellow means like that like it's not really that much spicy and things like that. Same thing happened. Like basically that when you try to consume such a content which is kind of like a little bit less money required to do that, it's kind of like so much spicy and punchy and things like that. But when you try to put little bit of try to consume very expensive piece of content, then it went kind of like a little bit mellow. I'm not saying is that Amazon Prime Video is kind of like simply creating making kind of like a very cringe content. No, it's not. But somewhat like I know they have they are making little bit of cringe, but it connect. It make fun and it connect, and that is good. That is kind of like something that really amazed by this thing. So probably I'm gonna say that like it's not depend on kind of like something the something that like piece of content. It's kind of like a depend on that how that kind of like a customer feel, how that kind of like a people will feel. And I feel more connected to the Amazon Prime Video when they kind of like simply upload their piece of content in their Instagram profile as a marketing point of perspective, which is like really amazing. But if I'm trying to say regarding about F1, then probably I would not that much connect. Like basically I love racing, I love F1, I love F1 cars, then probably yeah, I might gonna connect little bit. But probably the people who are not really associated with the F1 cars, or they don't really see, or they don't really heard, or they don't really nothing know about, those people will not gonna connect with the F1. Okay, yeah. But still F1 is kind of like a meant for luxury people. So yeah, who am I supposed to argue? There is nothing really at all. But yeah. So regarding about the social media marketing point of perspective, how would I supposed to do? How would exactly is this thing? Like basically, I'm gonna do the same thing like basically as an Amazon Prime Video, but not as a kind of like a something very cheap way, but as a kind of like a something that resonate with the kind of like something really good feeling, because my application is not meant to be fun, is meant to be kind of like a something express your thoughts and things and that. So my application is actually about that thing. Okay, yeah. So basically, in the marketing point of perspective, I will kind of like my social media handle, or my kind of like my application brand has kind of like a social media handle. They have kind of like a created such a content which kind of like a simply resonate. People will connect, and as also kind of like a simply try to putting that how much we are doing effort to kind of like a providing that services to you and things like that. So this is what I would gonna do. Okay, yeah. But tell me, like it's really essential that you have to do marketing and things like that. But I don't know how I supposed to do this. But yeah, but still it's this thing that a future is kind of like simply unpredictable. You can't really knew it, because let's just say that na ki you have a handle, you have kind of like Instagram profile, and you are kind of like uploading photo or video or things like that. This is the one thing. But when you are try to create a brand or things like that, then basically it's lot of thing happen. Okay, because like let's just say that ki whatever the photo that I want to upload, I couldn't upload the photo directly what I want. But when I try to upload the photo in kind of like brand point of perspective, like if I'm gonna say the brand, then probably it was kind of like a really long lot of thought process are actually include and things and that and that. It's a kind of like a new different type of things and stuff like that. But I'm gonna ask another question. Would you only use Instagram? Do you gonna use any other social media platform? Well, Twitter I'm gonna use. Instagram I'm gonna use. Facebook, I don't know, I'm not really sure how many people are actually using Facebook anymore. Basically, I don't know, yaar. Like a Facebook is, I don't know, yeah. Like basically, Instagram or Facebook are already connected. So basically, whatever the photo that I'm uploading on Instagram, it will gonna automatically upload on Facebook. So that is not gonna worry about that. So yes. What about another social media like Reddit or mm, I don't know regarding about that, because I haven't really used that much Reddit, so I'm not really sure. But probably what about the TikTok? Well, I'm belong to the India. TikTok is not actually existing in India, so probably I would not. But I don't know. Basically, is this thing na ki at the moment I'm not really sure, because the marketing is a kind of like it's very vague, and probably is this thing. I think that na ki if I wanted to build my application, okay, yeah, one of the biggest asset of my company, or kind of like one of the biggest kind of like a something asset in my company is me, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because let me tell you one thing, my application name My Artifact, and in this kind of like application where people would kind of like share their thoughts and things like that, the way that I'm doing right now, same thing. But with the one twist is that ki it's a kind of like a somebody YouTube, but people will kind of like record their artifact, upload their artifact, and people will kind of like listen their artifact. It's an audio based platform, but people will not gonna know who are you and what you are. Privacy is always been a kind of like a something secure in my platform. Okay, so this is kind of like a something idea that I have, and I will gonna execute that thing. The why I'm saying this thing that I am a kind of like one of the biggest asset, because of that ki I am kind of like doing this thing for almost like a decade. So I have a lot more experience regarding about how to do artifact episode, and how much it affect in your life when you record the artifact and things like that. Okay, yeah. So probably is this thing na ki if I'm gonna say that ki when you record the artifact, it will gonna add value and things like that. So people will gonna look up to me that ki you are doing this artifact for 10 years, then what kind of like a simply good thing happen in you? Okay, yeah. Like what kind of like a good thing happen in you? You just have to, yeah, like basically yes. So one of the biggest asset is kind of like a simply me, means like that ki I have to be kind of like a simply that ki I don't know what should I supposed to do, but it's kind of like a simply that ki one of the biggest marketing perspective is me. Like how do I supposed to talk? How do I supposed to interact? How do I supposed to? I don't know. Okay, yeah, it's depend on things and that. So I understand this thing. So I don't know. Yeah, future is. I'm not really sure anything what will gonna happen and stuff like that. But life is always been grown and progress and things like that. I understand this thing and I just have to. I don't know. All right, I should supposed to be end here. Okay. By the way, I'm actually recording artifact for kind of like a little less. Like usually I record artifact for 30 minutes, but kind of like it's only last couple of days I was kind of like recording artifact for like 20 minutes or things like that. I don't know. Like basically like what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that when I record the artifact, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna ask one question and kind of like elaborate as much as I want. Okay, yeah. And sometimes how the question is not really that much kind of like a way to elaborate that much. Because like let's just say that in the marketing point of perspective, I already mentioned regarding about how do I do marketing in previous artifact episode. Now I'm gonna talk about the how do I supposed to use social media to do a marketing, and I already mentioned. Basically, is this thing that answer doesn't really require so much amount of time to kind of like explore and things like that. So yeah, like basically I'm not gonna say that like I'm actually kind of like a try to quit as possible as quickly as possible. No, definitely not. I'm stretching the topic as much as I want. But probably is this thing na ki the answer really required only this, so that's why. Whatever. So this is it. I should supposed to be end here. And thank you.